I think a lot of times a mistake I see is that we start with ideas. We say, I think it should be a blue button. I think it should be a red button. And so a lot of times founders are just as maybe more likely to do this because we are idea people and we come up with all kinds of ideas. What we need to do is start back at the fundamentals. So what is the goal for our business? What are the problems that keep people from finding out about how to work with us? And if we can anchor every idea we have in a problem or opportunity, then it's going to have a much greater chance of having the right reaction. And it may be the wrong reaction too, but it will be a strong enough reaction, we can measure it. Yeah. And so if we can start with a hypothesis, I think if I change this, then this will happen to our customers, to their mindset. And then we have a plan for measuring it and making sure we got it right or we got it wrong. Then we really know and can build up a body of knowledge about our customers and what matters to them. I think the other thing that is an important part of our culture, and I have to continue to remind myself of, is framing everything as an experiment. There's supposed to be failure. Failure is where we can learn more and grow our understanding and figure out where we've made some choices that we can then build on and do something differently. So it's about failing fast. It's about trying stuff, putting some definition as to whether it's a success or a failure, and then moving on to better things. I failed again, yes.
First initial experience that I had owning my own business, one of the biggest takeaways was it was public relations. So it was very much client focused, client centric. And I wanted to please and do everything so well that I was on call all the time. If a client wanted something, I would drop everything and attend to their needs. So when I started Kitcaster with my co-founder, realizing that you need to have boundaries in order to be effective at our jobs, to be effective leaders, you have to create a container to work within, and you have to be very clear about what that container is. And be clear with your clients, and they'll respect it. As soon as I was able to articulate, here's our working hours, here's what the expectations are for this campaign, it was amazing.
Private individuals and private equity firms who's been willing to buy our company and say, hey, Fredrik, you don't have to work for the rest of your life. I'm going to be honest, that's been enticing. Yes, I could have bought the Porsche, I could have bought the Ferrari that I was dreaming about when I was in high school, But I was asking myself, what is more important, to have those things and a bunch of paper with old people's faces on it, or doing something that I actually really am passionate about and having a real impact on the world? And what's the legacy that I want to leave behind?
So I show up every single day. We have a very compelling why that resonates with people.
Yep.
And every single thing I do, when I look at my business model, I have 4 key activities. If somebody brings something to me that does not resonate with any one of these 4 activities, we need to raise money, obviously. We need to PR and awareness, grow the community, and we need to get access to resources and things we can give to our people. If somebody's like, hey, you need to do this, I'm like, if it ain't one of those 4 things, I'm like, nah, don't waste my time. Because those are the 4 things that I've determined that I need to deliver on a daily basis.
Talk a little bit about what you learned from that conscious capitalism approach.
Yeah, it's about what I call human-centric leadership. So focusing on the people within the organization, because ultimately every company says our people are our greatest asset. Nobody goes, our technology is greater than our people. No, our people is always greater than everything else within an organization. So why don't you focus on your greatest asset to get the biggest return? And ultimately, they're the people. It's your people that are going to deliver your return. So if you treat them well and you want to nurture them, you want them to grow so that they invest in that business themselves with their soul, not for the paycheck.
I can't tell you how many companies I know that actually ended up folding because they had the wrong people on their cap table and that relationship wasn't productive. There's this dynamic where, especially first-time founders, because they need investors, right? They start creating a hierarchical sort of dynamic in their mind with their board of directors. And that's really not healthy. At the end of the day, you have to see them as peers. You are all in the same boat and you are rowing in the same direction to achieve the same goal, right? You have a vision that you've articulated to them. They bought into that vision. They bring perspective. They bring expertise. They bring contacts. But it doesn't mean that you acquiesce to them at all times. Your opinion, your perspective, and your decisions carry exactly as much weight as anybody else on your board.
The thing with education is that we're so conditioned that we are not supposed to make money. And that was a big hurdle. And I would say probably still a hurdle that I'm constantly getting over, making sure that my fees aren't too high because I want it to be accessible and I want people to do this work. And so it really is a mind shift to think that I can be an educator and I don't have to be a starving one. I don't have to have a roommate to keep my house in San Diego, that I can actually live on my own and pay my own bills and, fancy that. But it is a hard, we've really conditioned educators in this country to not expect much, to give a lot without a lot in return. And that's actually why I left education, was because as much as I love teaching, and I also was tired of being poor, and that's for real. I was tired of struggling.
What have you learned to shift your mindset, Rebecca, when you're feeling inadequate?
I think that it has been helpful for me to grow up with a disability. And because I have faced those feelings and those things from the time that I was in kindergarten and I was the only one who couldn't read the board, or, couldn't participate in this game or that game, or couldn't play sports because my face is a magnet for balls and I don't have the reaction time to protect myself. Growing up with those experiences has actually minimized, as a founder, the extent to which I feel those things. But when they do inevitably come, I think that I look back at all of the things that I have been able to achieve and things that I have accomplished from a personal perspective. I think that has really been the most helpful.